What up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? Welcome to Hawks Hoops Live. Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I call it a different thing every week. Some week I call it your one-stop shop for all things NBA. Some weeks I'll call it just your weekly live NBA show. It's called something different almost every time, but we're here every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Super excited for the NBA season to get started, and it's crazy because earlier today I was like, dang, it ain't really much to talk about. Like, the NBA's been kind of slow in terms of news, yada yada yada. What's good? Ewan, maybe. How you doing lately? I am doing pretty good. I was just saying I was nervous that the league wasn't really going to be doing nothing for me in terms of news. I was worried he wasn't going to have enough. Ewan. Oh, I like that. Okay. Appreciate you for letting me know. Ewan, I like that. Appreciate that. That is the one thing I'm bad at when it comes to streaming, is pronouncing people's names and tags and stuff like that. So when you drop the how it's pronounced in it for me, I really be appreciating it. But Ewan, yeah, I'm doing good. I was nervous that we wasn't gonna have enough stuff to cover. Like, we're gonna do a tier list and we're gonna rank every NBA team and what I think in terms of title contenders, playoff locks, play-in lock, fighting for the play-in, or a lottery team. We're gonna get to that. But other than that, I was like, dang, ain't much to talk about in terms of the NBA. And then the NBA always comes through for me. Why do I doubt the league, man? They dropped the schedules. We're gonna look at a couple of schedules. We're gonna look at some Bronny and Bryce highlights. And LeBron James even signed his contract extension. So we got a lot to talk about. I'm excited. Hope you guys enjoy the stream today. Hope you guys have a good time. If you are part of the rewatch gang, say, you watching this later, part of the rewatch gang, I appreciate you. Rewatch gang be love. I'm starting to peep. I was looking at some analytics. The rewatch gang be pulling up. It's a couple of y'all that be watching the full stream afterwards, and y'all some real ones as well. I appreciate y'all. If you can't make the stream and you're part of the rewatch gang, it's like you here with me in spirit. I'll be feeling it. Ninja, what's good, my man? How you doing today? The NFL is going to occupy me till mid-Feb. Oh, nah, man. For me, when it comes to the NFL, I watch 3 games every year. 3 games every year. The first 2 weeks of the Eagles, and then usually NBA preseason starts right around that week 3 for the NFL, and then I'm out until the Super Bowl. I watch 3 football games a year. The first 2 Eagles games in the Super Bowl. I don't really be paying attention to football like that. Let's see. February 1 says all my attention goes to NBA. Obviously, I'll pay attention to NBA, what's going on. I just focus on NFL during the NFL season than the NBA. I understand it. Like, I ain't mad at it. If you like both, like, my boys are like that. A lot of my boys like the NFL and the NBA, and they be watching more NFL, especially during the start of the NBA or the start of the NFL season. But me, I don't watch football. I couldn't even name you every position on the field. Like, I'd be like, what? Nah. Ewan, yeah, I heard about the LeBron contract. 2 years for 90 mil. Yeah, something like that. 2 years, 90 something. Triple OG, what's good? Thanks for pulling up to the stream, man. Quick question. When is Bronny getting drafted? Bronny is able to get drafted. Well, let's get into that. Yeah, we'll do the Bronny stuff first. I want to be able to catch up to intercept the NFL without Smooth, man. I like Chris Smooth stuff. I do like Smooth stuff. It's a little short for me sometimes because it's only like a quick 2-minute clip, and I'd be liking to see more of the games. A lot of times, me personally, I'll go in, if I do happen to miss a game, I'll YouTube. The NBA does a really good job of at least showing almost all the makes. They'll do a 9-10 minute video on almost all the makes, and if I'm interested in defense and stuff like that, I go to NBA.com to get more stuff. But definitely helpful, Ninja. Yeah, if you only got a couple minutes, you want to see what happened the night before in terms of the games, Smooth's videos are amazing for that. All right, OG, we're going to hop right into that. So your question, when is Bronny able to get drafted? If I'm not mistaken, so if this year's the 2022-2023 season, he's going into his senior year this fall. So after his senior year, he'll have to play the 2023-2024 season, either overseas, in college, in the G League, somewhere. And then the fall of 2024, basically at the end of LeBron James's new contract that he just signed, Bronny will be able to get drafted, and LeBron would probably sign for, whatever, potentially even a vet minimum based on how much he wants to play for him, to go to whatever team Bronny gets drafted to. So fall 2024 is when we'll probably see Bronny in the league for the first time, and he'll get drafted. He'll get drafted sometime in that summer of 2024. Yeah, Bron will be 41, which is wild. All right, speaking of Bronny, so Bronny and Bryce played in their first, let me get my windows together real quick so I can see my notes and see chat. Bronny and Bryce played their first game together sometime earlier this week, right? Sometime earlier this week. Bronny has a really good game. He pulls off this
U18 front squat.
Insane dunk. We're gonna look at this real quick. Bryce and Bronny game together was great. Exactly. Bryce and Bronny's. Is this the right screen I want to do? Hey, look at it. Let me remember. So yeah, Bronny and Bryce had a really good game together. I just want to see the dunk. This is a 3-minute clip of highlights. They're playing for the CBC. Interesting. Nah, where's the Bryce dunk? Bronny has some other nice moments too outside of just the dunk. Like that's a nice little screen. He's gonna catch the ball up top here. Oh, that's a pretty behind the back. Is that N1? That's tough. I will say one thing. Bronny doesn't get, I mean, obviously he's going to have a lot of hype, right? He's LeBron James' son. And everybody's saying, you know, he's not LeBron, whatever, right? People are saying he's not even prospected to be, as of right now, a top 20 high schooler in the world, or excuse me, in the country, which is fine. But you can't deny there's definitely some skill there, and he's definitely probably will make an NBA roster. He might not be LeBron James, but let's be real. When we're talking about, it's not fair to compare Bronny to LeBron, because at worst, LeBron is the second best player of all time. At best, he's the best basketball player of all time. Like, so it's not really a fair comparison between the two of them. Are there potentially other high school players that are better than him? Sure, potentially. But is he out of high school? No, he's going into his senior year. So that means he's got opportunity to growth, opportunity to show more. I don't really watch high school basketball. I only really see the clips that that ESPN or House of Highlights be posting. I don't got the patience for high school ball, but this is the dunk that went viral. Full court, bang. That was beautiful. Absolutely insane dunk from Bronny here. I want to see if they're going to show there we go. That's tough. This is the angle I was looking for. A little in and out, right by him. Dunk with the right hand on the left side. Amazing dunk, right? Absolutely amazing dunk. Let's be real. Probably can't none of us in the chat do it. So, but there's always a hater in the midst. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, all people do in the world is hate. So everybody saw this dunk. Everybody was going crazy, right? Mind you, I just want to show this too while we're here. This side by side that ESPN put together, or somebody or whoever put this together, this side by side is crazy. Like that side by side is crazy. But of course, there's always gonna be some haters. So right after the dunk, Skip Bayless says, "Hey Bronny, impressive, but your dad would have dunked it left-handed. You sure got away with it though." Skip. There's no need. There's no need, Skip. There's no need to be this much of a hater all the time. Ewan said I could do it if I was on my mini hoop. That's hilarious. There was one person who I wanted to see. Oh, is it not here no more? There was one response to this. There's this dude who impersonates Skip Bayless and he does it so well, but I don't see it here anymore and I did not save it. All right, whatever. I just wanted to say Skip was a hater. I get it. Skip gets a lot of clicks. Skip's whole job is to be like, hey, yo, what can I do to get the most clicks, the most retweets, the most impressions? But I mean, at what cost, my guy? At what cost? You got to have some sort of decency eventually at one point in your life. Ewan said, do you think LeBron planned his 2-year contract so he can get traded to Bronny's team that year? Oh, 100%, Ewan. The thing is that so his 2-year extension, he's going into the last year of his current contract. And then he has, so that'd be Bronny's senior year is the last year of his current contract. Bronny's first year in college will be LeBron's first year of the new contract, right? But then when Bronny is entering the NBA, that going into that season, LeBron, will actually have a player option, and he can actually, opt out and then decide to sign wherever Bronny gets drafted. So to answer your question, he ain't got to worry about getting traded. He can just go there automatically simply because he wants to. And speaking of LeBron James' contract, let's talk about that real quick. Let's put up the tweet from Woj so we can I can give you all the details and we can go over that real quick. Hey, Sway, what's good? Thanks for putting to the stream. Triple OG, bro, this man Skip acting like it's 15 rings and 5 MVPs. Yo, exactly. Skip, he's just annoying. Like, I don't even have another better word for it. Unfortunately, he is just really, really annoying. Cruz, Eddie, thanks for pulling to the stream. What do you think about the Pacers? We're going to do the rankings. Spoiler alert, the Pacers are low on the rankings. I think they're going to be a fun, exciting young team to watch. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, though, unfortunately. Because they still got to figure out what they want to do with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. My mind still is on, like, why are we getting rid of Miles Turner? I think he could be a really good center for the Pacers. Like, I don't know. I get maybe he didn't necessarily pan out how they wanted him to. I think they thought he was going to be like a franchise player. Look at Jokic, look at Embiid. I think they thought that was his realm that he was going to be in. All NBA caliber player. Look at Karl Anthony Towns even. But he's not that. He's still very, very good defensively. He can stretch the floor a little bit. I think he's solid. Yeah, I think they can be a fun team, Eddie, but I just don't think they're going to be winning a lot of games. Do you see the vid of Stephen A and Skip having the top 5 in 2011? Neither of them had LeBron listed. Yo, nah, that is hilarious. But no, I've not seen that clip. I'm going to find that one. Ben, what's good, man? Thanks for coming to the stream. How you doing? So yeah, speaking of LeBron James's contract, speaking of Bronny, speaking of LeBron, speaking of the potential of LeBron James playing with his son Bronny, which, however you feel about the media overhyping LeBron or overhyping Bronny, seeing a father and son play together in the NBA would be so dope. Like, regardless of what team they're on, regardless of if they're like, crazy winning or crazy good, stuff like that. No, I have not seen BR's win-loss predictions. Y'all got a lot of questions about that. We gonna hop right into these predictions then. Y'all got a lot of predictions, questions, and stuff like that. We gonna hop right into these predictions. I like the energy. Just real quick, just to go over to LeBron James contract. Is that the one I want? This is the one I want. So LeBron signed a 2-year, $97 million contract extension. Player option for the 2024-2025 season. Like I said, can y'all even see that? That looks so small. All right, that's better. Maybe. Let's do this. Bop, 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 bop. There we go. 2-year, $97 million contract extension. Literally almost $100 million. I want to say it works out to like 48 million a year. I want to say it's all on average. Player option for the 24-25 season. It does not include a no trade clause because it's only a 2-year extension. Starting salary be $46 million and a 15% trade kicker if he is traded. That's what makes me think he probably won't get traded, because then you're looking at a like $50 million trade that another team would have to match in terms of salary. So it's easier for him to opt out and decide where he wants to go from there. I'm not mad at it though. Now he's the highest earning player in NBA history at $532 million. That means a billionaire. Absolutely insane. But since we got a lot of questions about predictions, and that is the title of the video, let me not drag it on. I got some other stuff I want to talk about. We'll talk about that after we do the rankings, because I think the rankings might take a while. I got a lot of interesting thoughts on it. Go crazy, Sway. Have you seen the BR team's win-loss predictions yet? No. I didn't even know they dropped that. Well, that might be a little reaction video you'll see a little later. I ain't gonna hold you. Do I think the Hawks are gonna win a lot of games? Let's do Eastern Conference first. Eddie's asking about Eastern Conference, so we're gonna do Eastern Conference first. Guru, what's good, man? Thanks for posting to the stream. You ain't late, man. We just started. It's only 8:16. You actually just in time because we just about to start the rankings. Ninja, they can go to the team like the Rockets. Rockets draft Bronny. LeBron joins Houston. They're easily a play-in team. I mean, that'd be dope, Ninja. I don't know who's going to draft Bronny. Whoever's going to draft Bronny is going to be got to be a team who. Well, that's the word I'm looking for. You got to draft Bronny because it fits. The fit has going to work. Because I guarantee you, at 41 years old, LeBron's probably going to play one season with his son. Like, I don't think LeBron's going to sign a multi-year contract with whatever team that is. He's going to be like, hey, yo, this was dope. I played the 1 year with my son. I'm out. But it was dope. It was dope. Triple OG, I actually do think Bronny will be good. His only downside is he needs to put on a little more muscle and stuff like that and his height. And the muscle thing is going to come up with age. Like, if he's going into his senior year, that boy is 17 years old. A lot of guys ain't crazy muscular at 17. If Brady can play to 45, he can play 2 seasons. 2 to 4 seasons. Brady is 45 in his playing, but I also feel like, once again, I don't watch football, but the little bit of football I do, Brady don't be getting hit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. To me, look, what Brady does on the football field is different than what LeBron James does on the basketball court. I'm not minimizing what Brady does. To me, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Shoot, he's probably the greatest NFL player of all time. But I just think it's a little different what they do in terms of the physicality of the game. Lucas, what's good, man? All right. You know what I mean? We got some people in here. We're going to go ahead and... Have you heard his offseason stuff? Oh, yeah. His offseason stuff. I've heard about Bron's offseason stuff. I ain't heard about Brady's. So I ain't going to hold you. LeBron better give Bronny his Miami steroids. Hey, Miami Bron was definitely on something. I ain't gonna cap. So we got a tier list. The tier list is, we're gonna do both conferences. It's all gonna be one tier list because I figured it'd be a whole lot easier. We're gonna do both conferences. We're gonna pull it up right here so you can see it. That is not what you're supposed to be. There we go. We're gonna pull it up right here so you can see it. Dang, y'all done saw the cheat code already. I done accidentally showed y'all my notes and where I'm putting people. All right, let me see how this looks on stream. Does it look all right on stream? Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so we got the tier list. You in NBA G-Food like most people, however, I highly doubt I will be 6 feet. My mom is 5'2", my dad is 5'9". That doesn't mean I can't be, just less likely. Hey, I feel you. NBA is everybody's dream, Ewan, but 5'2", 5'9", it's not impossible. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not impossible. So as you can see, we have the tier list here. We have, oh, can I do this? Because my OCD is gonna bother me. We have 5 categories here. We got title contender, playoff lock, play-in lock, fight for the play-in, and then lottery team. The numbers here is the seed I'm projecting these teams have. So 1 to 3 seed, I'm considering in the title contender category. The playoff locks 4 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 12, and 13 to 15. We're going to do, let's do Eastern Conference first, I guess. You're 5'7" and 14. How tall was I at 14 years old? 14, what is that? Like freshman year or 8th grade, something like that? Ninja, what's good, man? Ninja, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna agree with where I put the Sixers. I already know you're not, which is fine. We you know what I mean, we can agree to disagree, but I already know you're not gonna agree where I'm gonna put the Sixers. I'm gonna go ahead and start in the Eastern Conference because earlier in the chat, Eddie had a bunch of questions about the Hawks, about the Pacers, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna start at the top. I'm gonna work my way down. To start out the list, the team that I expect to have the best record in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks. You give me a healthy Milwaukee Bucks team. You give me Brook Lopez all season, Chris Middleton healthy, Drew Holiday still there, Giannis still there. In my mind, Giannis is still the best player in the NBA. I know Jokic is back-to-back MVPs. Jokic, you can make the argument, had a better season, but I wouldn't have been mad if Giannis won both those MVPs either. To me, Giannis is the best player in the NBA. That's why you can be mad at me, Ninja. So I'm putting the Bucks as the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. Coming up next, I have The team that just went to the NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics. You add Malcolm Brogdon, you add Danilo Gallinari. I've talked at length at how much I think that made that team better and how much I'm excited to see this team. I think they did get better in the playoffs. Better this past postseason. They did a lot. I'm excited for them. Now, this is the one where I think I'm going to get some controversy. And the 3 seed, my third title contender for the Eastern Conference, I'm sliding into Philadelphia 76ers. For now, before you go crazy, hear me out. I know y'all know I'm a Sixers fan, but this isn't necessarily just a homer pick for me. When I really broke it down, when I really think about it, I like the Sixers as a 3 seed in the East. And to me, that's title contention. I can see him as a 3 seed because, one, I really think Joel Embiid is going to come out with a chip on his shoulder. I'm picking Joel Embiid to win MVP this year. Part of it could be some voter fatigue because I don't see Nikola Jokic getting it 3 years in a row. I just think the voters aren't going to do that. Even if he's really worthy of it and worth it, I don't think they're going to do that. James Harden is telling the world that he's coming in the league in more shape. He took that pay cut. We added PJ Tucker. We added DeAnthony Melton. I think we could be a really, really good team. I'm going with us at the 3 seed. Right behind them, though, on their tail, I'm going to leave the Miami Heat. Now, the Miami Heat, I was harsh on. I said they didn't do anything to get themselves better. I just said they didn't do anything, at least in the offseason additions, to make themselves better. The Heat will get better because they're just expecting their players to continue to develop. Duncan Robinson find his shot back. Victor Oladipo get at least closer to his Pacers level. Tyler Hero playing better and continuing to get better and more consistent offensively. And then the biggest piece for the Miami Heat to me, though, was Bam Adebayo. We already know defensively he's elite. He probably would have been Defensive Player of the Year in my mind if he didn't get injured this past season. He might win Defensive Player of the Year this year. Offensively, though, I would love to see him a little more consistent. Will Harden, Black Majestic Will Harden actually played last 60 to 70 games. I think the reason I think he can is because this is the first offseason we've seen since his initial injury. This will be the first offseason he had a full offseason to recover. And I think there's a lot of value in that. The last 2 seasons was COVID and then a shortened season because they were rushing the offseason because of the bubble. So he didn't really have a lot of time to really get his legs underneath of him. This will be the first time in literally like 3 years that basically every player had a full offseason, at least any player that had a deep playoff run. Melton to the 76ers were underrated. I don't disagree with you at all, Guru. You and I hope James Harden plays the best he has played. He's been falling off lately. I think James Harden, his actual accounting stats were solid. It was just his efficiency wasn't what we expected to be. Like, he still put up, I want to say like 22 and 8 this past season. Harden looks like he works at Burger King now. The Heat did lose PJ Tucker, and I think that is something they will miss. JM, Jimpies? The names really, 22, 8, 10, and 8. Thank you. I knew it was somewhere around there. Rage, what's good? Thanks for pulling to the stream, man. Heat 6 years MIL. That's why they're close. I'm not even mad at that take. To me, though, the reason I'm picking the Sixers because I think the Sixers already have to me the better player, the best player out of those teams is Joel Embiid. And if James Harden can be what I think he can be coming into this season, they're gonna have the 2 best players out of those 2 rosters. But that's why I got them 3 and 4. So the Heat are right on their tail in my book. All right, at the number 5 spot, I'm actually gonna do the Brooklyn Nets. Now, hear me out with the Brooklyn Nets. I know it's a lot of whirlwind of information surrounding the Nets. Imagine a world where what I've been saying for at least the last couple of weeks, where Kevin Durant stays, Kyrie stays, and they just run it back. They just run it back. I can see this team being like a 5 seed. I still think this team has some holes. I think depth is something they lack still. And I think they still are going to have some time and issues with just gelling and making sure everything works, seeing how Ben Simmons fits in. So I think they could potentially lose a couple of games early. I think there'll be some times where you see Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving not necessarily play these 40-plus minutes that we were seeing them play last year, especially KD trying to keep this team afloat. So I'm going to put them right there for now. And even if in a world where Kevin Durant does get traded, and depending on what you get back for him, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. But I'm just going to put them here. Playoff lock, 5 seed, if their team stays as is. I like them there. I like them there. It's a lot of ifs, I know, but I wanted to make this, and I couldn't be waiting around forever for the Nets to figure out what they're going to do with KD and Kyrie. The Nets got a better roster. They got the likes of TJ Warren. Yeah, I like their roster. And I've said it before. I think the Nets is the best place for Kevin Durant to have the opportunity to win games and to win a title. That's the best roster for him. Wherever else he's get traded, the roster's going to get gutted in the trade. This is the best roster for him in my mind. Oh, gee, that's funny. Next on the list, I got the Chicago Bulls. So the Chicago Bulls, they started out crazy hot last season. They started out crazy hot. Injuries hit them at the worst time. Lonzo goes down. Caruso goes down. DeMar and Zach LaVine are in and out with health and safety protocols a couple of times. COVID hit them hard. Like, there's a team who just hit a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Injuries and health stuff at the wrong time. We're going to talk about them Raptors, Black Majestic. However, I do think they're a playoff lock. Me personally, I think they're going to be the 6th seed. I think they're a playoff lock. I think they have a good enough roster if healthy. I'll be honest. Then I'm thinking about it. I'm not necessarily sure. To my knowledge, Lonzo's not going to miss that much time in the beginning of the season. I like the roster. I like DeMar. I like Zach. The playoff lock. I'm leaving them at 6. Dang. Oh, Triple OG, you went to the roster. You went to the game 4. Almost left that arena crying for real. I'm not gonna hold you. That was tough. That was tough. Shout out to you for going, but that was tough. Speaking of the Raptors, Black Majestic, I'm gonna have the Raptors as the first one right here for the play-in lock. That's why I got them at the 7th seed. Is there a world where they can be 6 and the Bulls 7 potentially? But I'm going Raptors as a 7th seed. Me personally, I like the Raptors. I was actually just talking to my guy Hawass about the Raptors. Shameless plug. Go check out that video. We did a fun little Raptors preview the other day on my new series, Let's Talk Hoops. I like the Raptors. One of the biggest flaws I think the Raptors have is depth. They need a backup. They need some better backup guards in my mind, and they need a stronger center. I like Precious Achiuwa. I know they just drafted Koloko. Christian Koloko. They just drafted the 7-footer. A lot of people are telling me he's going to be really, really good. I want to say he was one of the conference defensive players of the year in college this past year. I'm iffy on, not iffy, but I'm always interested to see how rookies are going to impact teams immediately that are what I'll at least consider winning or playoff achieving teams. So I'm really curious to see how he's going to fit in. To me, the league is harder for big men to adjust to than guards, so I'm not necessarily expecting him to walk in and change everything immediately. I'm happy with them being here at the 7th spot. First playoff game too, right? After that, I became a Grizzlies fan. Black Majesty, do you think Scotty Barnes is going to have a massive sophomore leap? I think he's going to be solid. I think he's going to continue to get better as sophomore year. I'm curious to see how defenses adjust to him. I'm curious to see a lot of these rookies. Like, what's Cade going to look like? What's Evan Mobley going to look like? What's Scotty going to look like? I'm very curious to see how these defenses adjust to a lot of these sophomore year players. I don't expect any of the guys I just mentioned to have a sophomore slump, to be honest with you, but I am curious to see how they not bounce back, but react to defenses basically having their names circled on the boards, you know, when they're talking about the games. Game planning against them. That's the word I was looking for. Good Lord. I went to Sixers Raptors game 2 playoff match. Did you really? Oh, so y'all be going to games. Y'all be going to games. Y'all got some bread. That's all I heard. Y'all got money. That's all I heard is y'all got money. Y'all and y'all families got money. That's all I just heard. I ain't never been to a playoff game. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I could potentially, but I ain't never was like, every time I go to look at them ticket prices, I'd be like, I'm gonna spend this money somewhere else. I've never been to an NBA game. I've only been to a couple, so, and the NBA games I went to was when the Sixers were absolutely trash, so, you know what I mean? I went to the Hawks game 3 and left the arena with a sore throat. I know you ain't probably mean nothing by it, but that's a wild sentence. Hawks game 3. Game 3 versus the Miami Heat. I feel like nowadays we're too reliant on stars of old, like KD, Harden, Russ, or old farce now. We should focus on players like Ingram and Ja. I think the league is doing a really good job of, ushering in the new guys. Like Luka is in MVP conversations. Luka's, I want to say, according to FanDuel, he's the favorite to win MVP. So the league is definitely ushering in this new age of superstars. Guru, y'all lucky. Hey, that's facts. But you know what I mean? I ain't mad at it. So everybody's asking about the Hawks. This is actually where I had the Hawks, a play-in lock. So I think the DeJounte Murray experiment is going to be very interesting. I said this before. I don't know who just asked it, but somebody said, where do I think put them? Do you think he's going to get his karma? I want to say I saw that the Hawks opener is against the Magic, where Apollo Banchero plays. So that's really going to be interesting to see what goes on between the two of them. But this is where I'm putting the Hawks. Now, am I skeptical of the whole Murray-Trey pairing up? I've talked about this at length. Yes, I am skeptical. Do I see the logic behind it? Murray plays amazing defense. Trae Young was a liability on defense. Murray's also not shabby offensively. He's really good as well. I get the logic, but I also realize, at least me personally, both of those guys were extremely ball dominant last year. Trae Young throughout his whole career. DeJounte Murray wasn't necessarily ball dominant throughout his whole career, but last year was his breakout year. And I think part of the reason he had an amazing breakout year is because he had the ball in his hands. He's not a great shooter, guys. He's really not. And I don't think it's as simple as saying, well, Trae Young run around screens like Steph Curry does. If it was that easy, it would be a lot of guards running around screens as much as Steph Curry does. But this is where I'm putting them. I think they can be solid. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Trae Young by himself is a walking top 10 offense. They're going to be great offensively. I'm curious to see how well DeJounte Murray impacts some of that perimeter defense. I'll take him as an 8 seed, though. TikTok video. I'm wondering where you have the Warriors at. We're going to do Western Conference next. So the fight for the play-in. These are teams who the 9 through the 12 seed. I'm including it all. I know the 11 and the 12 technically aren't a part of the play-in. Like if you make 11 or 12, you're not in there. But I think all of these teams are going to have close enough records that it's going to be like only a couple of games apart. The first team I'm putting in there at the 9 seed, this is where I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. I like the Cavs a lot. This is no disrespect to the Cavs. I know how great of a season they started out with. Love Darius Garland still. Love the fact that they brought back Ricky Rubio. Very curious to see what they do with Colin Sexton. If they do decide to, do a sign and trade with somebody or trade him somewhere, if he could potentially be 6-man. If he comes to the Cavaliers, accepts the role as 6-man, he could potentially be in conversation for 6-man of the year. He's that good, and if you have somebody that good off the bench, that's a huge plus. Defensively, we all know this team is going to be very, very good. I want to say I have it written right here. They were where I wrote it down at. Yeah. They were top 5 defensively last year. In terms of defensive rating, they were 5th. So defensively, we know they're going to be there. Offensively is where I think they're going to struggle. So that's why I have them this low. Next, we have what do we have next? This is actually where I have the Washington Wizards at the number 10 spot. So I'm high on Beal. That's just spoiler alert. I like Bradley Beal's game. I think he's a bucket getter. I liked Kristaps Porzingis. I really think the pairing of Kristaps and Bradley Beal can be something. I like the fact that they added Will Barton. I like the fact they added a good backup. Well, excuse me, he'll probably actually be the starter in Monte Morris. I like some of the pieces they have going in there. Rui Hachimura is solid as well. I think they could be a really fun team to watch and a nice little play-in team. Hey, Suns Geek, what's up, man? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. I was just rewatched the beginning of your Suns Suns schedule reaction. And thanks for pulling us for the stream. Wait, explain how the 76ers over the Heat. So we talked about it, but I'll go back just for you. Essentially, the argument there is for me, Joel Embiid's already the best player across both of those teams. If Harden comes back being the Harden, I believe he will, with finally having a full offseason to rest and recover that hamstring injury that's been nagging him over the last 2 seasons, I think Harden can be the second best player across both of those teams. And if you look at it that way, I really like what else the Sixers adding PJ Tucker, honestly taking that away from the Miami Heat, and added D'Anthony Melton. It's to 3 versus the 4 seed, but that's why the Sixers are over the Heat. If Zion gets injured, he's gonna get so much hate. I mean, that's facts, but I don't think he's gonna get injured. I think he's gonna be solid. At the 11th spot, this is honestly where I have the New York Knicks. So the Knicks are a team I am very interested to see play. You pick up you pick up Brunson. I like the addition of him. And they did need a point guard. They needed a playmaking point guard. I felt that for a while. Defensively, I'm still very iffy on what this team is going to do. I don't think they're going to be good defensively at all. I saw some glimpses from RJ Barrett towards the end of the season where I was like, okay, he could be something. Like RJ could low-key be in MVP conversations this year. Call me crazy, but I think he could be in those conversations. The biggest question mark for me is what version of Julius Randle are we going to get? Are we going to get all-star Julius Randle or are we going to get last year's Julius Randle? If we could even get somewhere in between, I think the Knicks could be fighting for a play-in spot. Yeah, the Knicks do have a lot of question marks. I guess you can call it optimist in me. I don't think all of those question marks are going to turn into negatives, so that's why I'm kind of putting them here. And especially when I thought about the teams that I'm about to say that's below them, the Knicks are definitely at least better than those teams, so they had to fall here. Jaylen Brown is overrated? RJ over Brown? I don't think I've ever seen somebody say RJ over Brown. I've never heard nobody say Jaylen Brown is overrated either. I've only heard people call him underrated. Overrated for Jaylen Brown is crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. Overrated for Jaylen Brown is crazy. Hey, Rudy Gay. Shout out to Rudy Gay. Apparently it's his birthday, according to Rudy Gay. According to the biggest Rudy Gay fan I know, it's Rudy Gay's birthday, so shout out to him. Knicks not even playing is crazy to you, Sway? I can't have him as a play-in lock, but just me personally, I can't have him as a lock for play-in. They're gonna be fighting, and they could potentially make it, but they can't be a lock for me. And yes, Suns Geek, having Jaylen Brown is overrated is an extremely hot take. The next team, the number 12 team in the East, fighting for that last play-in spot potentially. This is where I'm gonna have the Charlotte Hornets. I say fighting for them very loosely. Very, very, very loosely. Do I think they'll actually be fighting for it? Probably not. They're probably gonna be the 12th seed. But I like LaMelo Ball's game. Losing Miles Bridges sucks. You know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, I've said this before, but I doubt we'll ever see him in an NBA jersey again. If Gordon Hayward can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a great addition for this team. I think this is just another one of those young teams that's going to be fun to watch and continue to see LaMelo Ball develop. I'm not really expecting much out of them, but I expect them to be better than these next 3 teams I'm going to mention. That's just kind of what it is for the Hornets. And then I'm not even going to read that. That's crazy. All right, Nav, before we get to these lottery teams, let's read what you got to say here, because you wrote a lot. Bro, because of that finals, everybody in love with Jaylen Brown. I don't know. But that right now thing about people acting like he's a top 10 player, why you think the Celtics want to trade him? A couple of things there. Me personally, I don't think I've never heard, and I consume a lot of NBA content from TikToks to Twitter to YouTube. I've never heard somebody call Jaylen Brown top 10, me personally. And also most of the people content who I consume, or even myself, have said Jaylen Brown is really, really good. But I think it was before just the finals, to be real with you. Jaylen Brown's been good way before just the finals. Now, I mean, some people might be blowing the finals out of proportion, but I think he's definitely proper rated, if not underrated. Triple OJ never take a level of disrespect. The first lottery team we have is, let me look at my notes here. I'm going with the Orlando Magic here. 13 seed for the Orlando Magic. They got a lot of young guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Markelle Fultz can do. I know they already have Jalen Suggs and that other guard whose name is slipping my mind right now. But Paolo's going to be there. I'm excited to see him. I'm really excited to see what Jonathan Isaac can do offensively and defensively. That's just a team that I'll probably low-key be tuning into a couple of their games. I like Jonathan Isaac. Paolo's got a lot of hype that I'm really excited to see. I want to see if Markelle Fultz can force him as what. Thank you, Cole Anthony. Sexy lights. I'm really excited to see if Markelle Fultz can establish himself as the starting point guard for that team, because while I like Cole Anthony, while I like Suggs, I really do think Markelle Fultz could be that starting point guard that they're looking to be a playmaker and honestly a really good point of attack defender. He's a low-key underrated defender in my mind. But I like them a lot. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. Will they lose a lot of games? Yes. But will they lose them in an exciting way? I think so. The Detroit Pistons is who I have next. They picked up, who did they pick up in the draft? I have it written right here because I always miss their names, swap their names. Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. They added Nerlens Dwell and Alec Burks. They're going to miss Jeremy Grant, but honestly, he didn't fit their timeline. It was time to get rid of him anyway. Cade's going to have another year under his belt. I think it's going to be a really nice, exciting, fun team to watch. And then last but definitely not least, we have the Indiana Pacers. I like Tyrese Halliburton. Honestly, that might be the only nice thing I had to say about the Pacers. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I don't have much else nice to say. I've heard a lot of people talk about Benedict Mathurin. That's how his name? Benedict Mathurin. I've heard a lot of people say some good things about him. They're going to miss Malcolm Brogdon, but Pacers fans will tell me they're not going to miss him because he was always injured and never played anyways, which I understand. There's still a big question. We talked about this earlier with what they're going to do with Buddy Hield, what they're going to do with Miles Turner. They'll probably get traded sometime mid-season, and depending on what they get back for them, that might even make them even worse. So, shout out to the Pacers. This is what the Eastern Conference looks like. I think it's pretty solid. The only quote-unquote controversial things here is maybe having the Sixers this high, because some people will have the Miami Heat over the Sixers. I know some people will probably potentially have the Raptors over the Bulls. But everything else, I mean, I'm happy with this list. Let me see what we're talking about here. Ben, that's an excellent question. Love the content. Kind of Ricky knowledge basketball. What are the number when it comes to by the team? Yeah, that's the seeding. Thank you for answering that, Suns Geek. But yes, that's the seeding for each conference. So essentially, if you look at it, if you're just looking at the chart, it's where it says title contender 1 to 3. That means I'm thinking the Bucks is going to be the 1 seed, the Celtics the 2 seed, the Sixers the 3 seed, 4 through 6, 7 to 8. This will be 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15. That's the seeding, yada, yada, in the conference. We're going to do the West basically right alongside. I'm not going to clear it out so y'all can see it in comparison. I'm just going to start the West right next to it. So the number 1 seed for the West will be right here. 4, 7, etc., yada, yada. But let me see what y'all talking about in these comments before we move on. What do you think about Giannis saying he sees himself as playing the Bulls down the line? I did think that was interesting. I mean, I don't think he didn't necessarily say it in a way that made it seem like he was trying to leave Milwaukee or wasn't happy in Milwaukee. He said he was committed to Milwaukee. Milwaukee fans, I don't think you got anything to worry about. Don't over exaggerate it. Don't overthink it. All he really said was the Bulls have an amazing franchise history. Obviously, talk about Michael Jordan. And so it's almost like a dream for almost every NBA player to be like, hey, I would love to put on that Bulls jersey. Because of the history, I'd love to go play for the Bulls, potentially win the championship for the Bulls. To be a part of that, historic famed Michael Jordan history, I get it. But I don't necessarily think it's something like saying, oh, I'm trying to leave Milwaukee to go to the Bulls. But Milwaukee fans, don't worry. He ain't going nowhere no time soon. I like it. Sixers too high, Magic too low. Ooh, where would you put the Magic? In the play-in spot? The fighting for play-in spot? And then the only swap I can potentially see, you maybe swap the Magic and the Hornets, but that's kind of why I got the Hornets here, the Magic here. You know what I mean? Because I think they could swap. Like the Hawks and Cavs, I think they could swap. The Miami Heat and the Sixers, I think they potentially could swap. I like the order I have it, but if you were going to make an argument, like I could hear an argument for some of these edge pieces to swap a little bit. Let's see. Let's see what else we're talking about. 76 is a great option. I also think there'll be 3. Appreciate you, Sway. What team do you boost to win? Oh, Nav, you want the Bulls to win the chip? I like the Bulls, but I don't think they're good enough to win the chip. I ain't gonna hold you. And Ben, no problem. I think the Pistons will be better than the Magic. I'm not mad at that. I'm high on the Magic. I like the Magic because some of their guys have just a couple more years of NBA experience, but not by much. I mean, both teams are super young. Rudy Gay to go somewhere. Jersey Mike's is the real question, though. I'm going Jersey Mike's, believe it or not. I forgot the Magic existed, to be honest. That's funny. Nah, Peace Rose, don't be scared. As a Bucks fan, don't be scared. You know what I mean? It ain't even nothing to worry about. Giannis is, that's what, no, Rodriguez, exactly. Hey, that's a new name. Thanks for pulling up to the stream. I appreciate you. But yes, that is the truth. Like I said, everyone wanted to play the Bulls simply because of MJ. Swap with the Hornets. Oh, Magic swap with the Hornets. I'm not mad. Magic play in, swap with the Hornets. Wait, Magic play in as in play in lock or fighting for play in? Because to me, those are big difference. Play in lock for the Hawks is crazy. You would have them higher or lower, Nav? I'm just curious. Do you think Trey and DeJounte would be a good fit? I think they would be a interesting fit. I'm skeptical. I see it on paper. One plays great defense. One doesn't play great defense. They're both solid offensively. It's the offense that I'm worried about. I'm worried about how well they will mesh offensively. Defensively, I get it. It makes sense. It's the offense I'm worried about. All right. Y'all talking about the West? Let's get into it. So Western Conference. Let's start with a team who I think is going to have the #1 record in the West. Potentially might even have the #1 record in the NBA. I got to go with the reigning champs, Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors were on a roll, even without Clay this season. Draymond goes down with an injury, misses almost half the season. First time he ever had an injury mid-season that he had to come back from. He didn't necessarily look like his complete self, especially in the playoffs in the second half of the season when he did come back. You got a Draymond healthy. You got Clay healthy for a full season. The Golden State Warriors are going to be dangerous. You got Wiseman potentially coming, you know what I mean, in there and doing his thing. Golden State Warriors are going to be dangerous. I'll leave it at that. #2, the Kings play Golden State 3 times in the first 6 games. Warriors, Suns, Clippers, top 3 in the West. I think my top 3 is going to be very interesting to some people. I'm going Nuggets #2 in the West. Now, hear me out. You got Jokic, who's just coming off of back-to-back MVPs, who carried his team to let me double check so I don't give you all the wrong seeding. Carried his team to the 6th seed in the West, 46-34, with two of his best teammates not playing all year. Guys like Aaron Gordon out there putting up 35 minutes a game. I know it's, I'll say, potentially high expectations for this team. But if Jamal Murray and MPJ come back or even just turn out to be good shooters who can play in space and play better than the team that they've had, I think they got the potential to be a 2nd seed in the Western Conference. Call me crazy, but I think we're really about to see a different level to this team just because they're getting back 2 starters. And one of them is a potential all-star caliber. I think one of those guys can make an all-star team next year. Either MPJ or Jamal Murray. One of those guys can make an all-star team alongside of Jokic next year, bro. And I know a lot of people, Michael Porter Jr. is really injury prone, though. I mean, you can have that conversation as well. You can say I'm too high on him, but that's where I'm going with him. I like the Nuggets there, man. I like Jamal Murray's game. I like Michael Porter Jr.'s game. And seeing what Jokic was able to do with the team he had last year without them, when they nice, we gonna replay this clip when we look at the end of the season and they a top 3 seed and everybody like, dang, the Nuggets surprised us. I'm just gonna roll this clip back for y'all. #3, this is where I have the Phoenix Suns. I still love the Suns. I know they went out in a subpar fashion against the Dallas Mavericks. We'll say embarrassing because it was. I know they didn't look like themselves in the playoffs, especially in that Maverick series. But when it comes down to the regular season, when it comes down to where I think they'll finish, and I said it a bunch last year, and I'm going to say it again. I love the Phoenix Suns team as a whole. The way the team is constructed, the only big if I have is potentially a backup point guard playing more minutes for Chris Paul. We'll see what Cam Johnson can do. Cameron Payne can do for them to see if he can get some more productive minutes for them. But I still like them being a title contender for me. Black Majestic, I don't think it's going to be. So it's funny. Shout out to my guy Brandon, aka Suns Geek, that's in the chat. Me and him had a conversation about this about a week ago, and I asked him the same question, and he actually gave a really good answer that because of how fast the signing happened, like if you're not aware, the Pacers offered DeAndre Ayton a max contract. He was a restricted free agent. Basically, within seconds or minutes, the Phoenix Suns were like, "Hey, we want to keep you. We're matching the contract. Let's stay here." I saw some pictures of DeAndre Ayton signing. It was big smiles. It was all happy. So me personally, I don't think they would have, or he even would have, or excuse me, I don't think the team would have matched it right away if there was still some animosity there. I think they kind of leveled all that out. Honestly, I think it really could have came down to just some frustrations because they felt like they also got embarrassed. So Monty would have been like it was an internal issue because, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you're supposed to be a coach, you're supposed to be a professional, but at the end of the day, we as human, and if you go out as bad as the Suns went out, you're going to be mad in that press conference at the end of the game. That's just understandable. So I think it's a little bit of that too. Worst case scenario, yes, y'all will be the 3rd seed. The Suns are still nice. Exactly. The Suns are still continuing to team. But somebody asked about the Clippers. I got the Clippers as a playoff lock at number 4. And I like putting them here at the number 4 because I don't know if it's the Nuggets or the Suns, but I could see the Clippers taking one of these two guys as spots, potentially. If I had to pick one, it would probably look more like that. They could potentially take the Nuggets spot and slide the Nuggets to the 4, and the Clippers could take the 3. But the Clippers are really like, the biggest issue with the Clippers is going to be health. This is the 3rd or 4th year that we've seen the Paul George is going into either the 3rd or 4th year. I can't remember off the top of my head of the Paul George Kawhi saga with the Clippers. We still have yet to see them play a full healthy season together, including the playoffs. We have yet to see them play together the whole time. There's always one of them that's injured. John Wall is going to be a huge addition. I think most of us can agree that the Clippers have needed and upgraded a point guard position. I love Reggie Jackson. I love Terrence Mann. No disrespect to those two guys, but I think they can benefit from a more playmaking point guard to get some other guys involved. I think John Wall could be there for him. I'm not asking him to walk in there and drop 20 on some solid efficiency. I'm asking him to honestly just give me like 15, 16, but if you can give me 9, 8, 10 assists, some good playmaking, that's what I think John Wall could really bring to them. Some solid playmaking. Clippers might need some time to gel, but to me, Suns Geek, and the reason I have them this high, because the only gelling that to me that needs to happen is the John Wall piece. And the fact that they still have Reggie Jackson, they still have Terrence Mann. If there are some times when John Wall seems to be gelling slower, you don't have to start John Wall to start the season. John Wall can be a little 6-man to come in there and get going. Because to keep it honest with you, even if they didn't have John Wall, I'd probably have them in the same spot. That's how much I value Kawhi and Paul George. That's how much I value Nicholas Batum. That's how much I value Zubac. Like, even without John Wall, I'd probably have them as a playoff lock. I just really like this team. Their biggest issue for me is health. John Wall is what could potentially make them a title contender because to me, they've needed some better playmaking for a while now. At the number 5 spot, this is where I have the Memphis Grizzlies. Excuse me. No, it's not. At the number 5 spot, this is where I have the Dallas Mavericks. So in the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, any team that has Luka is a playoff lock. Let's just get that out the way. Are they going to miss Jalen Brunson? Yes, they probably will. Do they have other options in Spencer Dinwiddie and I always mess his name up and think it's Dennis and think it's yes, it's Tim Hardaway Jr. They're there. Last time I was talking about the Dallas Mavericks, I did not say Tim Hardaway. I said the dude they traded away to get Tim Hardaway to the Knicks, and no one corrected me. I was just wrong. But they still have Tim Hardaway Jr. They still have Spencer Dinwiddie. We'll see what they can do in terms of playmaking alongside Luka. I think Spencer Dinwiddie particularly can have a better opportunity to fill some of that gap that Jalen Brunson is going to be leaving. Nav, you mentioned Reggie Bullock. I think he's going to be really solid as well. And I really like the addition of Christian Wood. I know a lot of Rockets fans were like, yo, he's overrated. He's not that good. He's overrated. He's not that good. I've had the conversation before. He didn't really have a good playmaker. He didn't have a winning culture. I'm not expecting him to walk in there and look like, Kristaps Porzingis or anything like that. But I think defensively, he's going to be solid. He's going to be great in the pick and pop and pick and roll situation with Luka. You're going to see a new version of Christian Wood. I like an addition for the team. This, though, is where the Kings finna trade for someone big. Come to the comment section once it happens. The Kings have 20 players on their roster. Is that true? Rudy, do the Kings really have 20 players on their roster right now? Or that'd be crazy if they do. This is where I have, though, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies I like a lot. I really like the Grizzlies. Not even outside of the hype that is Ja Morant. Maybe not the hype isn't the word. The greatness that is Ja Morant. Because I don't want to make it seem like that's crazy. 7 shooting guards, 19 players with basically 20. That's wild. Yeah, they get no way they go into the regular. Somebody's getting dropped. I have to look into their roster. Sorry. I love the Memphis Grizzlies because outside of the greatness of Ja Morant, they have a really good team. Do I think they're going to miss Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton? Yes. That's why initially I had them at the 4 spot over the Mavs. I dropped them down to, the 5 spot over the Mavs, dropped them down to the 6 because I think they're going to miss those 2 guys. But they still have Desmond Bane. I know Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to miss some of the beginning of the season. I'm hoping it's only like a month and a half at most. But I still think they're a playoff lock. I think they're a really good team. They're well coached. I like the Memphis Grizzlies in the direction they're currently going in. Now, getting into the play-in locks for the Western Conference. This is where I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Is Jaren Jackson Jr. injured? He had surgery at the beginning of the offseason. He might miss some time. And that's why I have them at the 6th spot, and I have the Minnesota Timberwolves at the 7th spot, because I think there's a world where you can easily swap these 2 guys, and I wouldn't be mad at you if you did. I'm going to put the Timberwolves at the 7th seed, mainly because very similar to the Atlanta Hawks, same logic there. Karl-Anthony Towns can't play defense. Rudy Gobert can't play defense. Just put them on the same team, and now Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't have to guard the interior. Now Rudy can guard the interior. I'm just still a little iffy on 2 7-footers basically being on the same team and potentially clogging up that paint. Because yes, do I know Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the best shooters and one of the best big man shooters in the NBA? Yes. Honestly, he's one of the better shooters in the league, period, regardless of position. Am I still skeptical about the spacing on this team? Yes. What are the driving lanes going to look like for Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell with those 2 bigs on the court? I know Karl-Anthony Towns can shoot, but I also know he's super effective in the low post as well, bullying and getting, making moves around the basket. He's not going to have the ability to bully and make moves around the basket if Rudy Gobert is right next to him on the block. So I'm just curious to see how it all is going to work out. Rudy Gobert is one of the best in the league when it comes to screen assists. Yes, I do believe screen assists are a real thing. You can't undervalue a good screener. You really can't. Look how many times Ja Morant and Steven Adams run pick and rolls for the Memphis Grizzlies. Their pick and roll is virtually unstoppable. If you have a solid center like Rudy Gobert who can make set good picks, you're going to see a lot of Rudy Gobert and D'Lo and Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards pick and rolls for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I like it, and I don't like it at the same time. That's why they're playing lock for me. Cat is a better 3-point shooter than Dirk. Yes. I wouldn't say he's a better shooter overall. To me, mid-range, give me Dirk all day. Like up the stream, or you're a Warriors fan. I like that. The other spot for the play-in locks, this is where I have Chris Middleton and Giannis. His pick and roll is better. That's tough. Because, Giannis probably has more gravity as the roll man because he rolls faster. But if you ask me who would I want to have the ball in the hands of as a ball handler on the pick, I pick Ja over Chris. So it's very interesting to me. Next up, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans. The other play-in lock team I have. I'm high on Zion. I've said this before. Pels under Mavs? Yes. Pels under Mavs? Yes. And the main reason I have Pels under Mavs is because for the Pels, it's going to take some time to, like the Mavs, it's not going to be hard to integrate Christian Wood. Hey, screen for Luka. That's your role. Like, he's integrated just like that. For Zion, he's way more of a dynamic player. I love what the Pelicans have been building. I love CJ. I love BI. I love that. I love Bones. Like, I love this team. I love Valanciunas a lot. I'm a center guy. Like, I like centers in the NBA. Center is my favorite position. But the Pelicans, to me, are going to have to find a way to integrate Zion. Like, that's not going to be easy. So you might see some times where it's like a couple of rough patches where it's like, who do you give the ball at the end? Zion? Is it BI? Is it CJ? Like, they're going to have to figure some of it out. They're going to have some growing pains. I can see Zion even be potentially a bit on a low management detail. I like this for them being an AFC. I'm not mad at it. Y'all really think that the Pels are going to be better than the Dallas Mavericks? Like, for real, for real? I'm surprised you picked Pels and Mavs and skipped over the fact that the Timberwolves and Grizzlies are also over them as well. But interesting. Boom, boom, boom. Rudy, you're not going to like where I have the Kings. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to like where I have the Kings. Coming up next, fighting for the play-in spot at the 9th seed. Believe it or not, this is where I have the Los Angeles Lakers. And hear me out. I get it. Is the roster trash outside of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook? Absolutely. The roster is trash. They got younger, so I'll commend them for getting younger. But the roster is still trash. However, you give me Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and what I'm hoping is going to be a better Russell Westbrook for like at least 70 games out of 82. They're going to win enough to be a 9 seed. And if the Lakers make the play-in, I think they can lock in a playoff spot because I don't see the Lakers have players who, like, they're old guys, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Russ. They're guys who, if they need to turn it on for one game, I really do believe they can. If LeBron James needs to win one game, I really do think he can win that one game. However, I don't know how many games they're going to win in totality of a season. That's why I have them at the 9th seed. Funny that you mentioned the Trailblazers, Guru, and yes, that is a great photo, Guru. I couldn't tell from the because the chat is small of how I have the window when I'm looking at the chat, but I just peeped that's Bill Russell. That's dope. RIP, a real one right there. But Guru, you asked, is the Lakers better than the Trailblazers? Funny that you asked that because the Trailblazers is the next team I have probably coming in at the 10th seed. Rudy, I told you was not gonna like where I had the Kings. This is why I'm putting the Trailblazers because, and it could be close. That could be swapped either way. I think Dame's gonna be on a revenge tour. I think Dame's going to have a really, really good season. I think Dame's really going to have a really good season. I'm really curious to see how him and Anthony Simons play together. Anthony Simons had a really, really great year last year, but a lot of that, once again, very similar to the DeJounte Murray situation. He had the ball in his hands. I like adding Jeremy Grant to this team, but I think between basically Dame playing with Anthony Simons for the first time over the course of a full season, Dame playing with Jeremy Grant for the first time at all, they're gonna have some growing pains. They're gonna have some time. They gotta figure out how to make all of this work. I do like the additions of Gary Payton on his team as well to give them some more perimeter defense. But when I really look at this Trailblazers team, and this is no disrespect to the Trailblazers, I really have to sit back and ask myself, how much better is this Trailblazers team, or even is it better, this Trailblazers team, than some of the Blazers teams we've had over the last couple of years with CJ and Dame? Anthony Simons and Dame sounds very similar to CJ and Dame. And honestly, I'd make the argument that CJ is a better player than Anthony. You got a better wing in having Jeremy Grant than the wings you've had over the last couple of seasons. So that's a plus. But I really do think a lot of these other teams of the Western Conference are just better than the Blazers will be. I think Dame's going to have a great season. I just think these other teams are better. The only team I can see you make an argument, me personally, that I would make an argument that the Blazers could be better than is the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's why they're on the same tier for me. on the Kings 9th seed. So, Rudy, I got the Kings coming in at 11. I think they're going to be fighting for a play-in. I really do think they're going to be fighting for a play-in spot. I think they're going to be in a conversation. They could even make the play-in and be in the play-in tournament. But I think it's going to be tough. I liked what they did. I like the additions they made offensively. I think offensively, this team is going to be one of the most fun teams to watch. Defensively, they're going to be a bottom tier defensive team. I love the spacing they gave Fox by adding in their shooters. Picking up Kevin Huerter, I think, is huge. Picking up, who else did I wrote down some of their additions? Picking up Kevin Huerter is huge. Drafting Keegan Murray is big. Picking up Malik Monk is big. You lost Dante DiVincenzo, Justin Holiday, but honestly, I'm not really tripping about that. You got Mike Brown as your new head coach. I don't really know how well he coaches young guys, to be completely honest with you. But defensively, this team is going to struggle. Offensively, they're going to be exciting. But defensively, they're going to struggle. They were 27th last year in terms of defensive rating. I don't see them getting much better or any better than that going into this year. That's why I have them there. This last spot, this is where I have the Utah Jazz. This last spot is where I have the Utah Jazz, and that's just based off the strength of Donovan Mitchell. They still have some solid, and also the thing, they still have some really solid players. They have Donovan Mitchell, they still have Bogdanovich, they still have Mike Conley. It's a solid team. Missing Rudy, this is going to be one of the worst teams defensively. Without Rudy Gobert, simply put, it's going to be one of the worst teams defensively. I'm not looking forward to watching a lot of their interior defense. And then to round it out at the end, lottery teams, I'm going Thunder at 13. I'm going Rockets at 14. I'm going Spurs at 15. Spurs are full tank mode. At least the Thunder and the Rockets have some young guys who are going to be young and exciting to watch run up and down the court. But I don't see any of these teams winning many games. Do you think the Jazz will try to tank from Guru? I think it's in their best interest. I'll put it that way. Do I think they will actually do it? I'm really not sure. Do I think it's in their best interest? 100% think it's in their best interest. And I think they really should. All right. Hold on. Pizza Rolls. Pizza Rolls, what are your top 5 defensive teams right now? Off the top of my head, the teams I like the most defensively, and this could change because I ain't really thinking too much into it. I like the Heat. I like the Boston Celtics. I like the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm gonna throw the Clippers in there. Let me see where they ranked last year real quick before I feel like I'm saying something crazy, because my gut is telling me they're gonna be nice, but I couldn't really tell. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna throw the Suns in there. I was like, my gut was telling me the Suns were top 5 in defense last year, but I wasn't really sure. So I'd go the Heat, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Clippers, and the Suns. All just off the top of my head, those are who teams I think will be top 5 in defense. I don't see the Bulls. I ain't gonna hold you, Guru. I don't see the Bulls being top 5 in defense. They were one of the worst defensive teams. Not one of the worst, but they were not good defensively last year. And to me, they didn't really do anything to make themselves better defensively. Defensively, they were 23rd in terms of defensive rating last season. So I don't see them getting much better, to be keep it a being with you. All right, y'all. Let me see. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about before we get up out of here? They weren't healthy last year. That is a great point. That is an excellent point. You were missing Lonzo. You were missing Caruso. I'll put it to you this way. I think the Bulls will be solid defensively. I don't think they'll be top 5. I think they have, between Caruso and Lonzo, they have the defense to make them probably like middle of the pack. Maybe break into top 13-ish. Like, I don't know if they're going to get to top 10. Mainly because of their interior defense. I don't think Vucevic is horrible defensively on the interior. DeMar DeRozan played a lot of power forward for them, so he's not really doing much on the interior defense. They don't have much. Guards can kind of slash and get to the paint easily on them. Bigs can, dominate inside. They don't have the interior defense that I'd like to see from them. That's kind of why. Giannis Drew broke big 3 for defenses is great, not gonna lie. Top 5 power forwards of all time. Ooh, Pizza Rolls, you're coming in with the hard hitting questions. I don't know if I have a top 5 power forwards of all time top of head. I'll tell you who was probably in it, and I've never really thought about it. Throw Dirk in there, throw KG in there, throw Duncan in there, throw yeah. I don't know who my other two would be off the top of my head. It's names popping up, but I don't know who my full top 5 is. I'm not like a all-time list guy. Like, I know that's the stuff that be going crazy viral and stuff, and I be respecting, you know, the old head and stuff like that, but I don't really have like all-time guys. I don't be having all-time conversations like that, to keep it a being with you. Cookie dough is my favorite ice cream. Last thing we wanted to do on stream real quick. Honestly, that was whatever the main thing I wanted to do was the rankings. Let's see. We talked about Bronny and Bron news. We did the rankings. Only thing else that came out was NBA schedules dropped today. So that's exciting, but like I was looking at some of the schedules. I didn't really look at it. Well, I have it pulled up. We might as well. We're here. Let's talk about it. I didn't really get a chance to look at this myself, so I'm very curious to see what my Sixers schedule is going to look like. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on what our opening month of October is going to look like to me. And we open against the Celtics. That's a toss-up. I ain't even gonna hold you. That's a toss-up. Then we got the Bucks right after. Oof. That's another toss-up. That's a dub. One of these is gonna be a dub. We're gonna fumble one of them, I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna say this one's the loss. That one's a dub. We could lose this because it's a back-to-back. That's a dub. Realistically, we should walk out of October 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2. But knowing the luck of my Sixers, we're gonna walk out of October probably like 4-4. 4-4 for my Sixers to walk out. Because if we can't open up losing both of these games. Are these home or away? I don't know if the red is home or the blue is away. That's probably away. The Celtics were just in the finals. They're going to have them open on their home court. I know that for a fact. Low key, we might lose the home opener. I mean, the season opener. And low key could lose the home opener. That sucks, man. Why they give us the schedule to start? I did see something that the Sixers schedule at the end of April. This is my Sixers schedule to end April, to end the season. Chicago, Golden State, Phoenix, Denver, Dallas, Toronto, Milwaukee, Boston, Miami, Atlanta, Brooklyn. Why is this our schedule to end the season, bro? I tweeted earlier, we're going to go from like the 2 seed to the 4 seed based off the end of this month alone. The end of this month alone, we're going to end up go from like a 2 seed to a 4 seed. I was kidding, but not a favorable end to the season. I see the 76ers playing the Bucks in the semifinals. Oh, in the second round? That's not impossible. Top 5 trios of all time. Pizza Rolls, you got a lot of top 5s. Maybe we'll do a dedicated top 5 episode. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Only other things that kind of happened in the NBA coming over that I had kind of notes on, but I don't really think it'd be like, I'm not as interested in it. It was me drawing for straws. The Rico Hines, some more Rico Hines program highlights dropped of, you know, my guy Paul George going off. Fun fact, if you don't know, Paul George is he might be my favorite player in the league right now. He's been one of my favorites for a long time, him and Kevin Durant, but next week should be top 5 questions. Yeah, another NBA news. We did talk about it at the top of the show. LeBron James is rich, which is absolutely insane. Paul George, Rico Hines highlights dropped. I don't really put too much stock in Pro-Am because literally I just saw Who did I just see drop like 60 something in the crossover league? Oh gosh, was it the crossover? Crossover. No, not even Kuz. That's the thing, Guru. Kuz just did it recently. Malachi Flynn just dropped 73 in the crossover today, bro. This is why I can't put too much stock in in these pro-ams, simply because, and it's no disrespect to Malachi Flynn, like he gonna give me buckets if we was playing one-on-one. That's a fact. He an NBA player. But Malachi Flynn ain't dropping nowhere near 73 on anybody in the actual NBA. Peace Rolls could get a lot of experience if the Bucks need him to play. He's in a win-win situation, in my opinion. Let me guess. Is that who the Bucks drafted? He was the 24th pick in the first round. 6'6", 21 years old, 200-pound small forward. I'll be honest, I don't really have much thoughts on him, but I was going to say something very similar to Suns Geek. He can get a lot of experience if the Bucks need him to play. That's the only bad thing about when it comes to, like, if you're a young prospect and you get drafted to a team like the Bucks, a team like the Celtics, a team like the Warriors, stuff like that. I was literally about to say, you going to spend some time in the G League. Like Suns Geek said, just look at Jordan Poole's, how he got to the Warriors and how he got to where he at. Look at Gary Payton II, how he got to the Warriors and how he got to where he at. These are guys who, when they came in, not a lot of teams were checking for him. The Warriors didn't really need him to be great, and it was just there. And then they turned out to be, oh snap, solid. Now Gary Payton II got a little bag. Jordan Poole's probably going to get an even bigger bag when it comes time for his extension. I mean, so Marjan, you champ. I feel like I need to go to linguistics school to just learn how to say NBA players' names sometimes. But I think he could be in a really good situation where it's like, I mean, yeah, you're learning behind Giannis. You're learning in a great coaching situation. You're going to be a part of a winning culture. And Drew and Giannis are, some really good mentors to have. You got Brook Lopez. He's got good vets around him. Honestly, I don't know how good he is defensively, but he's got 6'6", 200. He could be a really good defender in the league, and he's got some really good defenders to learn from. Let me see. What else? I think I'm gonna call it, guys. Y'all know me. We don't be on stream all night. He's a 3-and-D wing. I was about to say, if he's 3-and-D, if his shot is solid in the NBA, if he can give you a solid 36%, he can, play some really good defense. If he really is 3-and-D, I'll say this. There's not any NBA team, especially a contender like the Milwaukee Bucks, that won't take a good 3-and-D guy. At least give him some minutes, throw him out there to be a floor spacer, to play great defense out there. If he can do that, then he's going to get some burn. If he can't do that, then he might not get as much playing time, but he can still get some good development. Jason, what do you think would happen to Donovan Mitchell? Honestly, at this rate, I don't know. At this rate, he probably won't get traded until sometime during the regular season. Maybe the Jazz front office will be like, no, we're going to just run it back. We don't need Rudy. We're going to see what happens. And then they'd be like, oh, snap. Rudy was our defense. And then they realize they need Rudy and blow it up. I think the best thing for the Jazz to do is to simply blow it up. That's just my thoughts. But I'm about to get up out of here. Y'all know me. Y'all know how we do. We don't be in here all night. I ain't trying to hold y'all up. Thanks for pulling up to the stream. Thanks for rocking with the tier list, rocking with the what's the word I'm looking for? Projections. That's also why we don't be here all night, because as you can see, my brain starts to slow down and I run out of words. Oh, now y'all got all these questions. I'm trying to leave and y'all got all these questions. What do you think about Grayson Allen? He was great with the Bulls matchup. He's one of the most consistent three-point shooters. Grayson Allen actually turned out to be pretty solid for the Bucks. I ain't hate him. I liked him on the Bucks. I think he finally looked like he belonged in the NBA. It just took him to be in the right situation to show that he could play some defense, to show that he could shoot. I don't have much thoughts on the Pistons. I ain't gonna hold you 3-1-3. I think they're a young team that I'm excited to see, but I honestly don't have many expectations for them. As a Bulls fan, I hate Grayson Allen. That I understand. And on that note, thanks so much for watching the stream. Thanks so much for rocking with your boy. I'm out of here. And I'll see you next week. We have another episode of Let's Talk Hoops that'll probably drop. I talked to Pegasus Media Podcast, 2 young Heat fans, so that might drop Friday. That's the goal for that. If you haven't seen the Raptors video with my boy Hawass, aka the Basketball Files, go watch that. We dropped that on Monday. We dropped that Monday. We dropped that Tuesday. We dropped that Tuesday. And then last week we also dropped the Suns video of my guy Suns Geek. So check those out. I will see y'all next week. I'm trying to get a couple of more people who create content. Last thing before I leave, if you have a favorite content creator who, he doesn't necessarily have to just cover that team, but say he talks about basketball and you know what his favorite team is, and you think he might even be, you think it'd be cool to see us talk about basketball, particularly about their favorite team, send them my way. Shoot me a DM on Twitter. If you're in the Discord, you know, hit me up on Discord. Shoot me a DM on Instagram as well, and you know, just put me in a direction. I'm trying to find some people. I got a couple of more feelers and DMs out there in the world, trying to get some more teams before we. All right, Guru, hear me out. I want to hit up Kenny. I low-key want to hit up everybody from Through the Wire. Like, I want to hit up Kenny. Kenny also has 1 million followers. I don't even know if he's going to see my DM. I'm going to reach out to him. I'm actually going to send him the Suns Geek one and my Raptors one as examples of what that conversation would look like, because I think those were 2 really good conversations. AM Hoops, I don't know who that is. I will look them up. I don't know who it is. That's why I hit y'all up, because although I watch a ton of content, I'm sure I don't watch everybody. Trash Bins, I don't know who that is either, so I'll see who they cover. Who is Andrew? Oh, so y'all know people. That's what I'm saying. That's why y'all gotta hit me up. Check out the Suns episode, y'all. It was great. So yeah, I'm gonna hit Kenny up. I think I'm gonna try him on Twitter. We'll see what happens. Y'all tweet at Kenny. I'm putting it in the Discord. Cause Low is a Lakers fan. I'll hit Low up. And that's why I think I can probably get some of these bigger content creators, because I've seen them do podcasts and stuff that's like an hour long. I'm not even trying to take up an hour of their time. I want like 25 minutes max. I think me and Suns Geeks conversations like 25 minutes, 30 minutes max. Like I just got a couple of questions. Just want to talk hoops for a little bit. You know what I mean? Let's talk hoops. That's what we do around here. Screw it. I might as well shoot my shot. I'm about to DM Kenny and Low tonight. The worst they can say is no, right? Appreciate y'all for the vote of confidence. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all next week, 8 p.m. Like I said, another episode dropping later this week, and going to try to schedule some more interviews for next week. And I'm out. Peace.